Hey, Cook Chef Kendra here, and today we're making some nice oven-baked barbecue ribs. We are baking these ribs in the oven, and they're going to be tender, and they're going to be flavorful. So let's do what we do and make it happen.
Start with the rub. We have brown sugar, garlic powder, smoked paprika, crushed chili flakes. We have salt, and we have black pepper. We're just gonna mix all this together and set it aside. The ribs we're using today, guys, are Smithfield extra tender St. Louis style pork spare ribs. Now we have our ribs taken out of the packaging, and we're gonna add some rub to it. But before we add the rub, we're going to remove the fat and take off the silver skin. And what I mean by silver skin, I'm gonna flip this guy over. That's this skin that rubs around here. And when people don't take this off, what it does is it makes your meat tough. And it's very fibrous. You don't want to be eating that. People who don't take that off, they always regret it.
We're gonna get down to preparing these ribs before we add the rub and all that stuff. We're gonna start by removing the silver skin. What we have here is the underside of our ribs. We start by taking our fingers and going to the corners and pulling up the corners. Now this is probably the most difficult part of it, but once you have it, you want to maneuver down as far as you can get, and then make sure your firmest grip on it. Once you've got a firm grip and you're in position, see that we have all of that entire rib piece basically under our control. I'm going to start at this end, and I'm going to use paper towel. What I'm going to do is grab the paper towel and get it off in one massive pull. Problem is, sometimes you have to reposition the towel and readjust your grip and pull it again. It's not as hard as some people think it is. It's a little thing that makes a tremendous difference with the finished product. Taking this stuff off makes for a more tender rib and a better mouthfeel. Now this is what I call my chef's cut. I cut it off, remove the silver skin, freeze it, and make a sandwich or something out of it at a later date. Now that that is removed, we're going to get rid of some of the fat. Now we're not going to get rid of all of the fat, because fat is a big component to ribs. It adds a whole heck of a lot of flavor to the meat. We're going to cut off the most obnoxious bits of fat and leave the rest. All right, let's move on to the next step.
Here's our rib. I've trimmed off as much as I'm going to trim off. We removed that silver skin. It's good to go. Now we're going to add some of that rub on top. We're not going to use all of this. Don't dip your hand in the rub and then rub this. And then dip your hand back in the rub, because there might be extra and we want to save some, so we don't want to contaminate it. So I scooped out some rub. I'm going to sprinkle it on top. That'll be enough for that side. This will be enough for the other side. I'm going to save this for next time. It keeps for 6 months. Put it in a plastic baggie, squeeze out all the air, close it, toss it in your pantry, label it. Now we're going to rub that in. Look at that, guys, just like that. Yes, we make mess. We make messes. Rub that meat, guys. That sounds rather perverted. Okay, sprinkle that on that side and gets the same love.
We're gonna take our knife we're gonna cut this slab of ribs in half. Now, hold up. Now, the only reason why I'm cutting it in half is because my oven is broken and I have to use my little oven. This is not something you should have to do. So I'm gonna cut right through the middle. Now I'm prepared to get these guys in the oven.
I have a piece of aluminum foil laid out on my counter here, and I'm gonna add a piece of the rib, and we're just going to fold it up like this.
Now we're going to pour a little water into our packet. Now this is pretty important. You want to make sure your foil doesn't have any leaks or punctures. So we're going to fold it over into a bundle. Next thing we're going to do is grab some more foil and we're going to put it on top, and then we're going to fold that on also. It doesn't matter if it's pretty. What matters is if the seal is tight. Once it's sealed up nicely, it won't leak in the oven. Anyway, what this does is it basically steams the ribs inside the foil. It keeps the ribs moist and it contributes to the tenderness. Now I'm gonna put these two little bundles in my little oven.
Now the oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna put one on the middle rack and one on the top rack. And about one and a half hours in, I'm gonna rotate them and cook them for another 1.5 hours. I'm gonna check them at 3 hours. For this and other fine recipes, go to chefkendra.weebly.com. That's chefkendra.weebly.com. You know I got you. Now we have it out of the oven. It cooked for about 2.5 hours. Now I'm gonna baste it with sauce, and I have it on a baking dish with some clean foil, and I'm going to baste it, get it under the broiler, let it char up a little bit, flip it, and do the other side. And obviously I'm gonna do it with the other half of the rib. Yo, share my recipes and videos, and if you haven't already, subscribe. That's all for this time. I'll see you next time. Chef Kendra is out. Peace.